One of Australia's favourite actors is in South Australia for the next few weeks, playing the part of a US president facing defeat in his bid for a second term in office. Garry McDonald stars in the State Theatre Company's production of the David Mamet play November, which opened last night at the Dunstan Playhouse. This week he spoke to Paul Clarick backstage about the politics of comedy and the comedy of politics.
Garry McDonald, thanks for joining 7:30 South Australia.
Thank you, Paul, for having me.
What's the play November about?
God, I love these sort of interviews because it makes me concentrate, get it into perspective. And then after I tell you what it's about, I think, oh my God, why aren't I doing it like that? It's actually a very funny David Mamet satire. And if you've seen Wag the Dog, the film Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, and it's really sharp. And it was obviously his reaction to the Bush years, but there's digs at Clinton in there as well, and just about the whole American system.
Sometimes, Chuck.
Yes.
Part of the burden of command.
Yes.
Is that you have to sell the other fellow out.
Have to sell the other fellow out.
That's right. For the common good.
For the common good.
Well, now you're talking.
Yeah, because for the common good, I could do it, but...
That's because you're a moral man.
If it was just expediency, I couldn't...
No, screw that. Screw that, sir.
So the president is very much in this a flawed man whose numbers are lower than Gandhi's cholesterol or Mike Rand's polling at the moment. Very, very low. And he's not going to get re-elected.
We're speaking of the absolute integrity of that one man who occupies the highest office in the land. Who would like to hold the highest office in the land? Rather than go home and play pitch and putt golf with Kathy.
What do I do? You know, it's a satire, obviously. It's like it offends everyone, you know, which is very good of him. He doesn't hold back. A bit tame around Muslims, I think, but he offends everyone else.
And now over to the weatherman.
We was. Well, bad news, I'm afraid. Tickle your ass with a feather. There's a bloody great high coming from the south. Seas will be as rough as guts, winds as hot as buggery, and it's going to piddle down for bloody ever.
Anything that's taboo is always funny. I remember someone saying to me years ago, they were doing a doco on vaudeville to video or something, and they said about political correctness, they felt it had gone too far, and they didn't like political correctness. And I said, well, no, I think it's been good. I think we needed to have that. It was we were just getting cheap laughs by demeaning people, and it's just not on.
Hey, listen, you know I haven't seen one Australian get onto this train.
Chirama.
Good boy. I hate more than a drunken watch.
Just having a bit of fun, right?
I trust you to like them.
We've swung too much the other way. We're now so frightened to say anything because we'll either be it's a hate crime or we're racist.
Hey, you know what Spider calls you?
Spider Farrell.
Yeah, Spider calls you wog lover.
Yeah, well, listen, if I'm a wog lover, you're a wog marrier.
Hey, wait a minute, are you saying Roxina's a wog?
She's not an Australian, is she?
No, she's English.
Wog.
She's a bloody immigrant.
A wog immigrant.
Right, she's a lot more Australian than you are.
Whereas now, the political incorrectness in this is more sending up how people won't say what they really feel. I mean, look at all this ridiculousness in America at the moment with Donald Trump. You see that speech he made the other day, Donald Trump, about... And he said about Libya that he'd go in, take the oil, give them enough so they could live comfortably. It's very good of him. He's a very kind man. And he can't announce that he's running for president yet because he's got this high-rating television show, a reality television show. He's got his priorities right.
What was it like being Norman Gunston on the steps of Parliament House, Canberra, on the day that Gough Whitlam was sacked as Prime Minister?
Well, there's a huge crowd there, of course, that were irate, ropeable, that Gough had been sacked.
No, look, it's a bit too serious for that.
It certainly is. Oh, no, I quite agree. It certainly is. It's extremely serious.
I think you're sending me up.
Oh, no, I'm not. No, I want... No.
Whereas I was kind of bemused because I thought, well, that's interesting, because he's been running the country into the ground. I mean, it was like, what was going on was ludicrous. We were going through a really, really ridiculous time. And, I mean, you might get worked up about, people still do, about what Kerr did, but kind of like, it was inevitable. was inevitable. But something had to give.
Does this mean that Liberal politicians can now come on my show?
We grabbed my costume and makeup kit and we got on a Fokker Friendship, tiny plane. I got made up in the toilet on the plane and we drove to Parliament House and just walked up the steps and is this a, what did they say? I forget what they said now.
What I want to know, is this an affront to the Constitution of this country? Or was it just a stroke of good luck for Mr. Fraser? Thanks very much. Just wanted to know.
But he did walk out when I was there, but he was too shell-shocked to say anything, I think. He just kind of looked at the crowd. It was pretty interesting. Made that second series of Norman Gunston, I'm here to tell you. NG for GG, that was a great campaign.
Garry McDonald, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And you can see the entire interview with Garry McDonald in all its incorrect glory on our website, along with all of tonight's stories.